I had a little bit of the sound was reverberating back into my ear. So I'll just wait a second until everybody's on board and begin our session today. Just waiting a little bit. Okay. If you're just joining me now, I just restarted the live itself. There is a specific issue going on with the sound. I had this a couple of weeks ago as well. Okay, so as you join me here today, we're working on the energy of the imposter syndrome. And the imposter syndrome is relevant in our lives insofar as there are times in our lives where we do certain things, right? Where we are placed in a position where we have to find ourselves, our authentic selves. And when we do something for the first time, we really don't know what we're doing, right? We have to put on somewhat of an act. We have to climb the mountain and then eventually fall down. And then eventually we have to pretend we know what we're doing. Other people are looking at us. We have this, this energy itself of getting feedback in a way, visual feedback. And then we wind up having to do something over and over again until we naturally can master that particular behavior or activity. So if I look at myself, for example, if you look at parenting or as a teacher that I was, going into the job itself, I had issues dealing with becoming a figure who people would respect or look up to. So when you're coming out of college and you've never taught before, you may have the ability, the innate skills to teach, but the act of actually getting up in front becomes a completely different, a beast itself. And in terms of getting up in front of people and then having other people, students look at you, you're brand new in the field of doing that, and it's not an easy task. And that applies to other jobs as well for people who take on a new job, and even parenting. So when we become parents, we take on the lessons and the issues that we were taught, and we take those exact conflicts, lessons with us in teaching our children. And if we start off as a parent, we may feel like an imposter. We don't know what to do or how to do it. And obviously everything takes time for it to fall into place in order for you to feel comfortable in what you're doing. And that imposter syndrome is something that's important. It's relevant for us to feel like we're not good at something in order to get better at it. The key is not to actually quit. And so if we don't challenge our self-esteem and we don't look into the past of who we were and what we were taught, then it becomes almost an ongoing imposter syndrome where then people seek to be in power as opposed to being able to actually have rapport with people and actually teach or whatever a person is doing. And so it requires us to reflect, it requires us to go back, and it requires us to understand that we're not perfect. And a lot of times we want to be perfect, so we don't want to challenge ourselves to feel that give and take, that back and forth between our ego and our unconscious mind. But that's the process of growing, and that's the process of evolving. So elevating yourself from the imposter syndrome is necessary, right? We sometimes, in those feelings of doing something new, we're afraid of being found out or unmasked. And in that energy is when the problems escalate or the inability to move forward from that syndrome takes place. And so we want to remove the self-criticism from ourselves, and we want to be able to stick and withstand the pressure of challenging ourselves to move forward. Remember, self-judgment and perfection will always get in the way of ourselves. And whether it's imposter syndrome or whether it's just personal growth, it's relevant for us to look into our lives and to understand that. Sometimes people were ashamed in homes where they wanted to feel their own power. And so a person, when they're in a job, as a parent, we don't know how to take those steps forward and actually live in that authentic role that we were put into in terms of life's challenges. So one of the things, or a couple of things that we can do is really to embrace our inner private dialogue, to recognize that things are not easy at the beginning. And at first, when we do anything, we're going to feel incompetent and we're not going to feel like we know what we're doing. But as we do something over and over again and we get over that little hill and we make it over, then we recognize and then we become a lighthouse for others to show them that in the process of doing something, we will all feel inadequate at some time. And also by doing it, you gain experience. And what you do is you don't really want to give up. You want to keep forging forward and challenging yourself. And just think about it. In life, we'll be faced with making new decisions on what we're going to do, whether it be work, whether it be a hobby. And a lot of times in the beginning, again, of doing something, we're not good at it. And then it takes work to do it. But if we forge forward and we go through the process of the imposter, then we find our true self at the end of the road. So what I'd like to do today is I'd like you to look into your life and to see what aspect of your life you may be living in as an imposter. Whether it's parenting, whether it's the job, whether it's interactions with friends, whether it's interactions with parents, or maybe it's interaction with yourself. You know, that ego self and that unconscious self, the true essence of who you are, battling itself with survival, of trying to fit in and trying to live in that material essence that sometimes gets in our way. But choose what you think is the most relevant thing in your life. And what we'll do is we'll go on a journey to uncover that and see what information you get back. I just wanted to pass along that I'll probably be doing tomorrow evening a group healing. So if you're able to join me, please do so. And in the interim right now, what we'll do is we will try to find a place that's comfortable where you can either lie down or sit down with your eyes closed. Covering your eyes is preferable to block out any visual stimulation. And if you can obviously just let go, that's the key component. And in doing so, more information passes through and more relevant things will come to you. All right, so what I'd like you to do is to take a deep breath in, get comfortable, and relax. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Let yourself relax and get into a state of receptivity. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Move your fingers, move your toes, shrug your shoulders, and when you're ready, come back into the room. Okay, so I want to thank you for joining me for Shamanic Journey number 54 as it relates to the subject of imposter syndrome. And we all, to some degree, are in a position where we do something new, that we go through that feeling of being an imposter or having aspects of ourselves that we don't feel are authentic. And it takes the inner work and looking inward again to actually notice or to become aware of the things that we can still learn from ourselves, right? Where we can grow from. And we want to be in a state of losing the desire to be perfect, or have any remnants of self-judgment. And that's a difficult task, but it's so important for us to do that in order for us to move forward. We don't want to be in a state of shame. We want to stand in our own power, and we want to embrace positive self-talk. And by doing that and gaining experience and not giving up, then we push ourselves forward to that state of becoming more wholesome with ourselves and dropping that feeling that we're not good enough. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. We all don't do things perfectly from the beginning. And even if we do something, there's always something to learn. And if we look at our lives in terms of issues or actually growing in a spiritual sense, we sometimes go in a cyclical manner. We retrace the same steps we once took, and now we reface the same challenges again. And so sometimes we say, well, I thought I learned from that experience. But we have to keep in mind that there's always something more to learn. And when we use the subject of imposter, it's not negative. It's actually just us coming to terms with things that we're inadequate with that needs work. And so hopefully during this week, you challenge yourself to look at some aspects of yourself and use the information that you received. And hopefully you have a beautiful week. And I want to thank you for joining me. If you didn't like the video, please give it a like. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. I'll be posting a link to a group healing session that I'll probably do tomorrow. So please look out for that. And check out next week's Shamanic Journey number 55. Okay, so hope you have a great evening, and I want to thank you for being with me tonight. Good night.